Hello, everybody. Welcome to From Darkness to Light radio podcast, recovery life coaching, and also my Finding Your Inner Peace and Tranquility radio podcast as well. I'm your host. Y'all should know who I am by now. Thank you guys for joining me for this episode. If you guys want to hear more of the commentary, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification button on YouTube. And if you are going to be hearing this on Spreaker.com, go to Spreaker.com/, finding your inner peace and tranquility. And you can also find my other podcasts as well. I am a certified recovery life coach, all about helping people on their paths, their journeys, and their purpose to a new and better you through self discovery. I hope you guys are doing well. Me, I am doing good. Thank you guys for joining me this Sunday. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of misconceptions when it comes to not only recovery, but also when it comes down to, when it comes to how to go about healing and how to go about recovering from things. I had to sit there and really think about this particular topic before I decided to talk about it. And the reason I wanted to do it a little bit um, different is because I wanted people to be able to understand that when it comes down to recovery and healing, a lot of us think it's about acting like something didn't happen. Like the situation that you're dealing with, what I'm saying, it didn't happen. And that's really unrealistic. You can't act like something didn't happen to you when it did. A lot of people, when it comes to hearing something negative, so let's say your husband wants to leave you after 25 years of being married, and you can't accept the fact this person is leaving the relationship. And like I said, I get it. I really do. I absolutely get it. I understand that you don't want to accept the fact that this person is leaving the marriage. But the reality of it is, people have the right to leave when they want to leave. So even though you may not want this person to leave, it doesn't mean that they're not going to leave, because they are. Like I said, I hate the fact when I see people so hurt and so devastated because they can't understand why it is this person wants to leave the marriage. What did I do for this person to just say, you know what, I'm leaving the marriage. I don't want it anymore. It's just like when somebody says that they don't want to be your friend no more, and you can't accept the fact that this person does not want to be your friend no more. You can't accept the fact that this person basically, essentially, is moving on from you. So now you're having a hard time, dealing with it. You're having a hard time accepting it for what it is. And now you're trying to act like this person didn't just say to you they want to end the marriage, or they want to end the relationship or the friendship, or even when you lose a job and they tell you that you've lost your job. Now you're upset because your job is gone, and now you can't understand how in the world this happened. This is why I became a life coach, for that reason. But I'm getting ready to do my actual podcast because apparently when I tried to do it, for some reason it just didn't work. So if I have to repeat this, I do apologize, but I'm doing this on my podcast, and some reason it just didn't want to cooperate. Let me see what happens. No, for some reason it's not working. So anyway, I won't worry about it. I have recorded on here, so I can always just add it to the actual podcast later from the computer. It might just be that, hold on. It might just be, how spiritually you're about to say something and you have some type of demonic spirit trying to keep it from being out there for the world. I'm thinking it's more or less that direction, more so than anything. So let's get into this conversation. I know for a lot of y'all, when you think about self-help, you think about self-discovery, the first thing you think about is think positive. When something negative go on, think positive. That's the first thing that you've been told. But the reality of it is, in order to grow, in order to evolve, elevate, or even mature, you're gonna have to face negativity. The only way you're gonna learn from your mistakes is if you take the time to figure out what went wrong. How did you end up in the situation that you ended up in the first place? What did this person say to you to decide that you was gonna go against what was right to do something wrong? That made you go against your standard, to go through your intuition and your instincts telling you not to go doing whatever it was that you wasn't supposed to do. It's just like the consequences, repercussions, and karma. How are you supposed to not continuously go through the same thing and you ain't learned nothing? You going back and going through it over and over and over again, thinking it's going to be a different result. That's like taking somebody back that did you dirty, and then you still get the same result. He still ends up doing it all over again. Why? Because you allowed him to. Because you can't understand why you keep taking him back. So now you need to sit down with yourself and figure it out as to why you ended up in the situation. Why and how. Them two words right there. How and why, when it comes to recovery, is the most important thing. Because you need to know why and how something happened and what made you decide to go down that route in the first place. What made you say, I'm going to go down this route. I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to do things this way. And this is how I'm going to go about doing it, and yet and still it didn't turn out well. And then you got people that keep trying to do the same thing and still get the same result, and you can't understand why it's not working. So instead of trying something new, you want to try something old that's not going to work for you. So when it comes to recovery and when it comes to healing, I need you to understand that it is not about repeating the same thing over and over and over again. In other words, the RE prefix. That RE prefix. The first time that somebody says no, just let it go. Don't try to convince somebody that already have it in their mind what they think. Let it go. That is what we've been taught to do. That every time somebody tell us no, we got to convince them of why they should say yes. Nope. The minute you said no, it should have been it for you. You should have been like, okay, well, it's nice meeting you. Keep pushing. Now, nobody's saying you can't meet other people that can help you, because trust me, that can be the case. But the best way to get people that didn't want to work with you to now work with you, find somebody who actually believes in you. Find somebody that actually wants to date you. Find somebody that actually wants to be your friend and actually want to be a part of your life. That's what you need to do. Instead of you looking for people that don't care about you at all, that really don't want to be anywhere near you, find somebody that actually, really, truthfully speaking, wants to be with you. Find people that really support you and what you do. And then you turn around and give them the same respect. So I get the fact for a lot of y'all, you think that when it comes to dealing with these negative emotions, y'all are so afraid to deal with them because you have to accept the fact that you chased after somebody that didn't never want you in the first place. You up here going after somebody that didn't never want you in the first place, and yet you keep chasing behind them. Why in the world are you chasing behind somebody that doesn't want to be, messed with in the first place? Let it go. If somebody tell you no, just accept it and let it be that. Stop trying to sit up here and try to convince somebody of why they should be in a relationship with you. Stop trying to sit up here and explain yourself to people that basically no matter what you say, they're going to continue to have the same philosophy anyway. There's no point in that. Let it go. Let it go. Walk away. Move on with your life. And as a recovery life coach, that's my goal. To get people to stop chasing these sirens and these fantasy worlds that don't exist. That's why you have so many women out here now that are single mothers because they sat there and believed somebody that led them to the slaughter, that led them astray and led them to get pregnant. That sat there and said, I would never leave you, I would never abandon you, and turned around and abandoned them anyway. And now they're raising kids by themselves. You got kids that think that their parents are going to, be there for them and be supportive of them, and then come to find out that's not the case. Like I said, at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to always have somebody that's going to lead you, and they really don't care about you at all. These people don't care nothing about you. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your wants, and they certainly don't care about your needs. So I get, for some of y'all, you think that by going through all these hoops and bounds and proving something to people, that these people finally gonna love, like, appreciate, valued, wanted, need to be part of something, to be validated, to be approved of, to be accepted, for somebody to know your worth, and basically being seat fillers, people pleasers, captain save hole, builder bears, and builder dogs. For what? The only thing that's gonna happen is it's gonna go from this person telling you no, for this person changing their mind, and then they're gonna all of a sudden take everything they can take from you, and then turn around and leave you for dead, leaving you unalived, leaving you with nothing, leaving you broke, leaving you lonely, leaving you with a child to raise. This is why this stuff happens, because y'all keep chasing behind people and trying to prove something to people that ain't worth you. Those things I just said is the reason why people are on drugs, alcoholics, codependents, why people are gambling, why people are sitting in jail right now. Because you looking for something that your parents did not give you, and now you trying to find it in somebody else. Or because your parents won't let you do what you want to do, now you want to go stay with somebody who you feel gonna let you do what you want to do. Now understanding that I don't care who it is, they're not gonna let you do what you want to, and they're gonna be impacted and affected by it. And that's what y'all want. Y'all want other people to be impacted and affected by your chaos and your drama. You want other people to be basically taking on something that ain't got nothing to do with them at all. Nothing to do with them in any capacity. So I'm trying to understand, how is it that you really think that a person is responsible for you and you're an adult? It's just like this one thing I found. Let me see if I can play it. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I think I saved it. But give me a second. Let me go to my photos and see if I can find it. Okay, I did. Listen to this. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Let me press the thing and then go back. Let's see if I can go back. I might have to play it twice, but hold on.
A married person first. Whenever God creates, He creates in a program of priority. In other words, He always creates the more important thing first. Then He creates the consecutive items afterwards. So whatever God places as the foundation of something, that is the foundation of it. And so the first thing God created was not a marriage. He didn't create a couple. I want you to think now. God, marriage is not the most important relationship in the society. It isn't. God thought so. He thought it wasn't. So He didn't start with it.
Now I'm playing it again so that way y'all can hear it. I didn't play the first part.
Singleness is more important than marriage. That is why God did not create a married person first. Whenever God creates, He creates in a program of priority. In other words, He always creates the more important thing first. Then He creates the consecutive items afterwards. So whatever God places as the foundation of something, that is the foundation of it. And so the first thing God created was not a marriage. He didn't create a couple. I want you to think now. Marriage is not the most important relationship in this society. It isn't. God thought so. He thought it wasn't. So he didn't start with it.
But you see what I mean? Y'all keep focusing on relationships and other people, but you're not focusing on yourself. And you're running behind other people, trying to look like other people, sound like other people, live like other people, have your marriages like everybody else, and yet and still you're miserable. And that's 9 times out of 10 what happens, why so many people are getting divorced, because your marriage is not based on you and him, or he and her. It is more based on what society feels your relationship is based on. A lot of people are getting away from society standards and saying, I don't want no parts of it, because the damage that society standards has done to so many people, they don't want no part of it, which is the first part of recovery, not being a part of society standards. There are people out here that's like, no, I don't want absolutely nothing to do with society standards. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go there. I just want to, live my life and live my truth. You got people out here now telling people, look, if you somebody that thinks that you won't work a regular 9 to 5 job in 2024 and think you're going to be able to retire, think again. The way people go through jobs, you're not going to be able to retire because you haven't been at a job long enough to retire. And eventually, you may not be able to retire to 82 if the Republicans have it their way. So a lot of people are realizing that even the American dream is a lie. So a lot of things that people have been told since they were kids, they're now coming to the realization. And now they're responding with it with, I don't want to have kids. They're responding to it that I'm not trying to get married. I don't want to be in a relationship. There are people that are just downright tired. But I want y'all to listen to this as well. Hold on. I'll start from the beginning. Okay.
Knowing when to not reply is Christ-like. I know you would think to be Christ-like is to give an answer to everybody. Matthew 27, verse 12. When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer. Then Pilate asked him, don't you hear the testimony that they're bringing against you? But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor. Sometimes people will be in awe of you by your silence versus your degrees. Jesus, no reply. He's a false prophet. He said this. Ain't got nothing to say. The only time Jesus did say something was when Pilate kind of got arrogant. Was like, man, don't you know I had the power to kill you or let you go? Jesus like, hold on, time out. Flag the play, traveling, offsides, clipping, hold up, okay? I need you to understand that no man takes my life. I lay it down. But if I lay my life down, I'm going to pick it back up again, okay? Continue with your foolishness. No reply. Is Christ-like when you're able to recognize. In that moment, Jesus is like, okay, I'm about to die for all of humanity. I'm going to be crucified, betrayed into the hands of sinners. On the third day, I'm going to get up with all power in my hand. He kept saying this to his disciples. So why in the world, if Jesus knew he's about to be crucified, lied on, spit on, beat up, killed, why would I argue with all these people? See, when you know your assignment, you don't have to reply. I gotta die. So why am I going to try to defend myself when I know my assignment?
Sorry, y'all.
Knowing. Get back up again. Okay, continue with your foolishness. No reply. Is Christ-like when you're able to recognize. In that moment, Jesus is like, okay, I'm about to die for all of humanity. I'm going to be crucified, betrayed into the hands of sinners. On the third day, I'm going to get up with all power in my hand. He kept saying this to his disciples. So why in the world, if Jesus knew he's about to be crucified, lied on, spit on, beat up, killed, why would I argue with all these people? See, when you know your assignment, you don't have to reply. I gotta die. So why am I going to try to defend myself when I know my assignment? Knowing.
So, like I said, a lot of y'all are sitting up here following behind people, trying to go get plastic surgery, doing drugs, not understanding these people are trying to lead you to the slaughter. They're trying to lead you against the path that God put you on in order to do something negative. They're trying to make you do something that goes against everything that is right, to do something wrong, and you're going to do it for what purpose? That's like somebody that decides to sexually assault somebody because you want what you want. And then after you did it, now you're thinking about the consequences. Now you're thinking about, oh my God, I might be going to jail. Oh my God, I might end up, it finally hits you that the consequences and repercussions and what will happen after you did it. Now you're trying to unalive somebody because you don't want it to come out what you did. But then again, it comes out anyway. And then you still go to jail. So it doesn't matter whether you cover it up. It's still going to come out eventually, no matter what you do, unless it's something you did by yourself and it was only you involved and nobody was hurt. That's the only way you can do it and get away with it, if nobody's affected by what you did. So, for example, if somebody decided to say, you know what, I'm going to go out here and make money to take care of my family, and then they decide to quit, then they quit before it was too late. That's a whole nother conversation. At the end of the day, freedom of choice and free will is extremely important when it comes down to recovery and understanding that if you don't appreciate your freedom of choice and free will, I don't know what to tell you. At the end of the day, like I said, I get a lot of y'all, and I even understand it, and I even, can be sympathetic towards it. But like I said, trying to hold on to something that was gone a long time ago, trying to stay in a relationship just because this man got money and just because of the status, you decide to stay in this relationship. You were the one that made the decision to lower yourself and not work. That was your choice. You were the one decided just to be a housewife versus being a businesswoman because this man wanted kids, but you didn't want kids. A lot of y'all will lower yourselves to be with people that just ain't worth you. They're not worth your time. They're not worth your energy. They ain't worth nothing. But yet and still, you will sit up here and bend over backwards for these people that will never do it for you. They'll never do for you what you do for them. They ain't never going to care about you the way you care about them. And that's what I want people to understand. In order for you to recover, you got to figure out how it is you keep dealing with the same type of people and you getting the same results. How did I end up on drugs, and what possessed me to do the drug in the first place? It was a person that convinced you to do it. It was a person that convinced you, whether it's a stranger or somebody you know, regardless of who it was, somebody put you in that mind frame to where you decided to take that drug. Now, it could also be a doctor. So, for example, if you broke your leg and they gave you oxycodone, and so you take the oxycodone for 6 weeks, and yet you're still in pain, and it still ain't got no better. So now you're asking the doctor for more oxycodones. Now you're hooked because, like I said, the fact that you trying to get back to the NBA, and the only way you're going to be able to play is if you're not in pain anymore. So now you're addicted to pills because you sat up here and now you tore your ACL. You take your ACL is not 100% healed. And instead of taking the time to let your ACL heal completely, You want to go right back out there and risk it all over again. That makes absolutely no sense. Other ways you can get addicted is you're at a party and you're being peer pressured into having sex. You're being peer pressured into drinking. You're being peer pressured to taking pills. You're getting peer pressured to smoking ganja that's laced with heroin. You don't know it's laced, but because of peer pressure from other people, now you're hooked on drugs. Now you're a godforsaken junkie. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's always another person or another or a spirit that is causing you to do everything. Now, I heard something today, and I don't know if I downloaded it. I don't know if I did, but it talks about Adam and Eve and how why it is that it when they went after Adam. I mean, they went after Eve versus Adam. Let me see if it's still here. No, it ain't. Give me a second. So let me see if I can find it. It was something I was watching, and I'm gonna have to put my phone. Hold on. I'm gonna put my phone on mute while I try to find it. But anyway, it was something about Adam and Eve, and I found it really, really fascinating. And they talked about Adam and Eve and how why it was that Adam and Eve, why the serpent went after Eve instead of Adam. So that's the thing I was trying to figure out, but I can't find it right now. But there were a lot of, during that time, the reason why that the serpent went after Eve, because they said that Eve is more so a receiver and Adam is more so a giver. So a lot of people don't understand what that means when you say men are more givers and women are more receivers. That's because when it comes to men, it's all about them providing. But like I said, a lot of men don't always provide to every woman. So that would be a misconception. So the reason that the serpent went after Eve was because Eve was more so the one that didn't know anything. She wasn't there as long, and she had no idea of the fact of the same rules that Adam did. She didn't know why she wasn't supposed to eat the fruit. That's why she ended up eating it, because the serpent told her, you're not going to die. You're going to see everything that God sees. The same way when it came to the archangel Michael, when he became Satan, he thought that he was on the same level as God and ended up being banished out of the Garden of Eden. So like I said, a lot of people need to understand the reason why they went after Eve first was because of the fact that Eve was the one that was newly there. Eve represents a child. And with children, they don't know no better. They only do what they see. And whatever they see, they emulate. They don't know that it's wrong, but they do it because of what they see around them. So it's easier to get a child to do something than it is an adult. So that's the reason why, they're saying it was easier for Eve, because Eve was more of the child and Adam was supposed to be more so the adult. But they also said that Adam was there when Eve was given the fruit. So if Adam was in fact there, why didn't he stop her? Why didn't he stop her from actually taking the fruit? And that's a very good question. So the question is, was he there, or did he come later and then she gave him the fruit? We don't know to this day. But there is evidence that Adam and Eve did actually exist. There's many different evidence that the Bible actually existed, but the point that I'm trying to make is this correlation when it came to Adam and Eve. The reason why they said it was a destruction of man, because now man is able to die. So because they ate from that fruit, not only did they have the ability of right and wrong, but they also had the ability of death. So if they would have never ate from that tree, we would have had eternal life. But because they ate from the fruit and the tree and they weren't supposed to, that is the reason why we're in a situation where we're able to not be alive. What's even more insane is the fact that everybody in the Bible was over 1,000 years old before they passed away, but we can't even get to 100. How is it throughout time is now where people can't even get past 100 years old? People can't even have longevity. Why is that? So again, you got people that don't want people to have longevity. They don't want people to have success. They don't want people to be happy in any way, shape, form, fashion, including the people close to you. So at the end of the day, you got people that are trying to sabotage you every single day, trying to do you wrong every single day. And this is why I'm saying you got to be mindful of who you choose to associate with. You got to be mindful of who you deal with, because at the end of the day, like I said, when it comes to negativity, it's going to come no matter what. There's no way around that. The negativity can hit you medically, it can hit you psychologically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. It can hit you when it comes to your relationships. It can hit you when it comes to your job. It can hit you anyway. If negativity can't hit you in one way, it's going to hit you in another. If you're mentally strong, it's going to hit you physically. If you're mentally and physically strong, it's going to hit you emotionally, or it's going to hit you financially. But what that also means is this here. It wasn't just about the fact that that tree represented death, but it also represents the fact that you can have everything and still lose it all because of one influence, and that is the moral of the stories of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve made a choice that instead of doing what God told them to do, they decided to go ahead on and eat their fruit, no differently than kids when it comes to their parents. We do it every day. But people don't understand that correlation, that the story of Adam and Eve is all about the parent and the child dynamic, and the fact that your child is not supposed to be going against you when it comes to listening to other people that you ain't told them that they ain't supposed to be around. So I just want people to understand that the story of Adam and Eve is very complex, but it's really simple. Don't mess with people that's going to lead you to the slaughter, lead you to negativity, lead you to pain, lead you to suffering, because that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to lead you to your demise. Point blank period, they're going to lead you to losing everything. If they can't if they can't benefit from you, they're going to destroy you in the same swoop. So like I said, this is definitely something I want to go more in depth in, but you can't run away from negativity, because if you continue to go through the same thing over and over and over again, you're going to get the same results. Why? Because you're not looking at it from a different perspective. You're doing it the exact same way. And that's why you're going to keep dealing with the same type of people, because you ain't changed. And until you change and grow, evolve, and elevate and mature, then guess what? You're going to continue going through the same nonsense that you've been going through, and then you're going to be screwed. So with that being said, I think that is it for me. I just want to make this short, simple, and sweet. I appreciate you guys for joining me for this episode. And y'all know who I am. If you want to become a member, please go to Spreaker.com/find your inner peace and tranquility. And you can basically become a member. If you guys want to basically follow me on this channel, on YouTube, my other channels, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification button to receive notifications of my videos. And until next time, we will talk later. I will do a part 2 to this episode and go more in depth into this. But I really just wanted to give a short, simple, and sweet, just a overview of it, because season 2, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about this particular topic as far as facing your fears, challenges, and negativity in order to be, and adversities in order to be a new and better person. So again, is this going to be easy? No, a lot of y'all going, is it going to be very hard for a lot of y'all? It is, because a lot of things that I'm going to say, y'all not going to want to hear, and you going to be mad. You going to be mad because you're like, why in the world did I not see this? Why didn't I see the red flags? The red flags were already there the moment you made the decision. But you not looking at the what if. You're just looking at, I want what I want. I'm going to get what I want. And no matter what, I'm going to have it. Problem is, you don't know what come with it. And then when you realize what come with it, you don't want it. Just like when men get married and they realize everything that come with marriage, guess what? They don't want to be married no more. Just like when a woman finds out she's being cheated on, it's the same thing. No matter what it is, there are signs that things are not right. There are signs that there's something else going on. Trust me, there are signs. And you need to pay attention to the signs that are in front of your face. So we're going to talk about recovery from a different standpoint. And I also have a actual book that's coming out going into a lot of this as far as recovery from a spiritual perspective. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I just wanted to come on here and do this quick video because in a few minutes I got to do the second video, and then I'm going to sit here and I'm probably going to do some reading for a little bit while I'm waiting. But let me find a scripture. Give me a second, trying to find my nice little book. It's underneath here. Okay. Let me find something in this new chapter. I think it's about grief. I think I'm on. Yeah. This chapter is all about let me see. I think the second chapter is about holding steady. So I'm gonna read y'all something from this, and it says, "From my powerful prayers for women. God, I feel unsteady. You alone provide me the firm ground beneath my feet, illuminating my path, so I am always living in your will and not for my own limited ego. Show me how to be the best that I can be under any circumstance, good or bad." It says, "Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." Jeremiah 33:3. "Finally, my breath, be strong in the Lord and in the prayer of his might." Ephesians 6:10. "When the world rocks you off your center, hold fast to God to bring you back to harmony and balance. When life pulls a rug from up under you, jump and land square on the foundation of God's love for you. When all is lost, God will help you find your way again." And then the next page, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to end the video. Well, yeah, video and podcast. It says, "The Lord is my life and my salvation, who I shall fear. The Lord is the strength in my life, who I shall be afraid." Psalms 27:1. "Lord, I try as I might to stay grounded in faith in the face of uncertainty. Fear sometimes grabs a hold of us. We become more mirrored in the bog of what ifs. What if the test comes back positive? What if this is the end of their marriage? What if the baby comes out too early?" All struggles of life can strike fear in our hearts. But you, O Lord, are our God. There isn't a situation or person that should cause us fear when we place our trust in you. Thank you, Lord, for rescuing us from fear. That's true. I don't care. Ooh, excuse me. I don't care what you go through. I don't care if you're going through one of the most scariest situations of your life. God should always be with you. Before you make any choice, you talk to God, you do your research, and you make sure that whatever you're doing, pros and cons, that you weigh the pros and cons. Because a lot of y'all act like y'all don't want to raise the pros and cons. because you scared the cons gonna outweigh the pros. That's why y'all don't want to do your research to find out if this is worth doing, because it feels so good to you to the point of where you feel like, oh, well, I just want to do this because it feels good. I want to have sex and I want to fornicate because it feels good. Just because it feels good doesn't mean that's what you should be doing. Because then when you become a single mother, you're going to be like, well, are you going to be there for me and the baby? No, he's not going to be there for you and the baby. He was there for sex. You were there for something else. You were there because you wanted to be with him. And you were willing to do any and everything to be with this man. And now you're pregnant. And now you're having a baby. And now you have to raise this baby all by yourself. So at the end of the day, like I said, there is no way in the world at this point in my life that I am going to sit up here and risk everything for somebody. I'm just not. At the end of the day, like that first video said, God did not put marriage first. God put being single first, because you have to learn yourself. You have to heal. You got to basically learn from your mistakes before you say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and get married. You got to be able to not continue making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. But the problem is when you got people enabling people and justifying their behavior, when people try to use the Bible to justify their behavior, you can't use the Bible to justify your behavior. It contradicts itself because of the times. But what things were said still remains. So at the end of the day, I'm moving forward. I am moving forward with my life. I ain't got time for all this nonsense. I'm not trying to be a part of society standards. I'm not trying to be something that some man could just fornicate with and there's no commitment. I had one child. I'm not having no more. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm not feeding into all the negativity that's out here in the world that's destroying people's lives every single day. I'm not trying to do anything that goes against what God wants me to do. And I'm not letting nobody pull me off the path that God has put me on. That is just not going to happen at the end of the day. I made a vow, I made a pledge, and I intend to keep it. Even though sometimes it is scary, sometimes it's hard, even though the adversity can be something that I almost didn't think I could handle. But guess what? I can. So at the end of the day, like I said, your happiness begins and ends with you. People are just the addition to you. But if this person don't bring nothing to the table and they don't bring nothing to your life, then you need to leave them exactly where they are. Because these people are not worth your time. They're not worth your energy. They're not worth anything. So there's no point of trying to be with somebody that ain't worth you. There's no point of how, you know, you're trying to be the best version of yourself and yet you got people around you that are not helping. So, like I said, at the end of the day, to conclude this, the Bible basically, based upon Adam and Eve, the whole purpose of it is this: when you feed into sin and when you continue to not ask for forgiveness, when you continue to deal with non believers that are pulling you down to the pits of hell, when you are sitting up here allowing different demons to come into your world and manipulate, bamboozle, lead you astray, and lead you amok. And then when you have them telling you what you want to hear, like I said, if Eve would have never gave Adam that apple or whatever the fruit was, they would probably still be alive today. We would probably be living forever. And maybe our mentality when it came to how we do the world today will probably be different. But the reality of it is it's not the case. So even though a lot of us want longevity, I meant to say, the problem is Adam and Eve ate the fruit, and when they did, they put death upon every single last human being in this planet. And that's just the reality of it. That the consequences was death. And that's why when God said, don't eat the fruit, and if you do, you're going to die, that's what that means. It means when you ate the fruit, your eternal life is no longer internal. That's why they couldn't be in the Garden of Eden, because they were contaminated. The Garden of Eden was pure and they were not. So when they ate that fruit and realized they were covered up, when they realized that all of these things, and now it hits them what they did wrong, consequences, repercussions, and karma. But see, that's the first thing Adam should have did. Adam should have stepped in and made sure she did not have a conversation with that serpent. But it happened, and what happened happened, and that's just it. So I am going to go chill and relax the rest of the day. But I appreciate y'all for joining me for this episode. I do. But like I said, I like doing episodes like this. And we might go into other Bible scriptures and things like that and talk about them. But like I said, a lot of people are not about positive content anymore. They're about negative content. They're about destroying people and hurting people and doing all these things to negative people. And I'm just not on that right now. I'm a certified recovery life coach. But if anybody's interested in one-on-one coaching, or you want to be on my podcast as a guest, or you have something going on in your life that you want to email me about, just email me on my email address, asha.mariama01@gmail.com. That's asha.mariama01@gmail.com. And you can basically reach me there. So that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Without y'all, there is no me. I'd be nothing without y'all. This is my Sabbath day. So I'm just on my relaxation tip. And after I get done with my podcast, I am going to do a little bit of reading for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to bed. So that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Because like I said, y'all been there for me. You supported me through what I've been through. And you have no idea how much I appreciate that. So like I said, I'm not going to be running around here doing all these things because it ain't worth it. Like I said, it's not easy being a person of faith and being a person of God, but it is worth it when you see the end result, when you get out the light at the end of the tunnel. So even though you got to sit there and be wait for your blessings, but trust me, when you start getting your blessings, you're going to realize why you need to leave well enough alone. So with that being said, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.